Hello YouTube, ZiggyNo back with Sports Cards Daily. Thanks for joining. Today we're going to talk a little bit about hybrid grading approach. What? HGA grading slabs? What? Well, a lot's going on here. Let me take a few moments to kind of explain what's going on. So let me also bring up some of my thoughts and kind of what the purpose of this video is going to be about. Well, first of all, let's talk about what HGA is. I'll explain that to you from some of the research I've done. And then I'm going to give you kind of break down my thoughts, what the differentiators are, how will this solution scale, how will they be able to meet the demand that's out there, talk about what they're going after, targeting collectors with their unique colors and customization. And I'm also talking a little about what the competition's response is, right? Competition to HGA, yeah. But what would be their response? Like, what's PSA? Does PSA even care about HGA? Is HGA even on their list, and should it be? And then, why are we here in the first place? How did we get here with this grading world and this craze? Well, let's take a step back and let me start by answering the first question. What is HGA? Okay, so we've all been sitting around here for a while. If you've been in the sports card world going, man, grading takes forever. And for a long time, there were really only a few options. I mean, the real viable options were PSA and BGS. And viable by the sense of they would provide a resale value or would retain value after they were sold in the market. There's been other options. I think KSI, GMA, SGC have been out there. Even recently, I'll mention that there's CSG who's come on the market. And these guys are actually a spinoff of a comic grader, comic and coin grader who's been around for a long time. And I think that's important to mention that because if you think about PSA, remember PSA grades coins. So PSA's, one of their competitors is CSG. Let me also just mention real quickly too, remember that PSA was just recently acquired for nearly $1 billion. So just a lot going on in the market. So, okay, let me take a step back. First thought is, I mean, come on. The guy who did this, and I'm going to go ahead and give a shout out right here to the Happy Collector has on the owner here, I forget the gentleman's name, to talk about hybrid grading. This gentleman, and this in a nutshell, look, he's been back in the hobby. I think he's returned to the hobby about 18 months, 2 years. And he said he saw a need. He's an entrepreneur, father of 5, so I applaud that. I'm a father of 4. So, but he talks about entrepreneur, saw a need, and decided to build a grading company. Now everybody's like, well, I can do that, right? We all can. In fact, I'm thinking my friends over at Mojo Breaks and Conrad 6.5. But the difference is what he's done is he's taken the approach of he's using an algorithm to scan, look at, and evaluate cards with an algorithm. And that algorithm has been programmed by looking at PSA and BGS cards, right? He explains this a little bit earlier on. I'm not going to go through it. But again, in a nutshell, he scans a bunch of BGS, PSA 10s and 9.5s. He gets a database of what it takes in centering and corners and so forth based on these scans or these inputs. And he builds an algorithm that he uses then to grade other cards. Now, that's a high-level explanation. There's so much more that goes into grading. People are going to ask, what about surface? What about dimples? You know, all corners and edges, and everything's not the same. What I think is important here is I'm going to applaud this man for just taking advantage of an opportunity, right? There's a market need. It's kind of like this. If you went outside every day and when you went to the grocery store, there was only 2 stores you could really go to the groceries, and there was always a line, but you knew that, hey, someone else can open a grocery store. The barrier of entry really isn't that big. When you really think of grading, the barrier of entry really isn't. Again, let's take a second about this. HGA is using, instead of saying they went out and hired graders, they're saying they're using an algorithm that has looked at the resulted work of graders. Let that percolate for a moment. What's important about that? Let me go back to my notes here, guys. Is that what is the differentiator here? What is HGA's differentiator in the market? What makes them different? Well, one of the big things you're going to say is their turnaround time. If you look at what they guarantee their turnaround time, if they don't meet their turnaround time, it is free. They give you the product slabbed and they give you it for free. That's amazing customer service, and that's a great differentiator. Remember we were speaking Domino's, we don't get 30 minutes or less. Now I'm sure there's going to be some, FedEx doesn't get it there in time, whatever. But my point is they have a key differentiator in service. The next differentiator is in their customization. They're allowing you to, they're leaning towards the collector with this ability to, you can set the color, you can do some other tweaking, and I'm sure as they grow, they could allow a lot more customization to the slab, right? The label, maybe you can put your name on it or something, your initials, who knows, right? An idea that I think they should add is they should definitely jump on the registry bandwagon, right? I know PSA has a registry. I don't know why SGC. I believe SGC does or is building one, but I don't know why people don't take more advantage of this. So jump on the SGC wagon. I mean the registry wagon, and let me suggest this too. Expand the SGC to expand the registry to looking at scanned numbered cards. They're going to scan cards. They're getting the numbered information, numbered to 99. This is 89 of 99. We've got it this grade. Keep that database information. In fact, the great thing they're going to gather is all the data of scanning all these cards and the condition they get those cards in. That in itself is going to be worth value. So registry to me is very, very key. It'd be a great differentiator. Now, unfortunately, though, I would say that your grading algorithm could be intellectual property, right? That could be something that differentiates yourself. But what stops PSA or BGS or anybody else from doing the same thing here by using this hybrid grading approach, right? By using an algorithm to grade instead of using people. Because again, that's the big difference here. We're using a wealth of knowledge and math and algorithms and scans instead of using a human being, right? The human being's still going to review it. They're going to give it a sanity check, so you're not sending out any black labels that are crooked. Right? Not that they do black labels, but there's going to be a sanity check there. But think about that, right? Now, here's something that I thought about as well. Another thing that's interesting about this video that you'll pick up on if you listen is he talks about how they set up their system. Let me go over the website right now. If you want to go ahead and register, you set up an account, you submit your cards, number of cards, you select your turnaround time. What they forget to share with you is that they limit how many submissions they accept each week. And I'm just going to give you, I think in the video he says there's about 1,000 submissions they allow every week. And I don't know if this number 1,000 submissions or 1,000 cards, but there is a cap that they take in every week because they are mindful of their business. They know how much they can do. They're only taking in what they're going to do so they can meet those SLAs. That's that service level agreement of getting your card back to you graded in its customized slab. I respect that. In fact, note to SGC, maybe you should have had something like that back when you promised the world to everybody. Anyway, back to this. What's interesting, though, about this is it does set a bottleneck, right? If this becomes more popular, and right now this gentleman is selling out every Friday, okay? His cards sell out. He doesn't have slots. So you want to try this. It's kind of hard to just try with 1 or 2 cards because there's a limit. Anyway, if he wants to scale this, you know what's great? What he's creating here, this ability to use his algorithm, his software, and his slabs and his labels. Now, I will say, he does talk about in his video how these are customized. They spend a lot more time in each slab and each label than their competitors do, but they'll be able to scale that and grow that as they get bigger. Now think about this. What if they franchise this? Right? What if this HGA opportunity works so well that he basically sells a franchise to his friend in San Francisco and says, hey, you can set up grades and do the same thing. Use the same slab, same color, and offer it to your customers. And that guy decides he's not only going to color the labels, he's going to do something else that's going to customize it, right? Is that cool or what? Is that going to take off? Is that going to add value? Are people going to accept that? Now, I know people are sitting there going, oh, Ziggy, come on. No one's going to trust this stuff. It's not GMA. Think about how disruptive this could be in the market space. And I also want to again remind everybody, here's what blows me away, guys. I was talking earlier about this with some friends. Think about how different a slab is in value. With the recent Michael Jordan PSA 10 rookie cards going for, I think it was $300,000, right? If they're in a BGS slab, they're not going for $300,000, right? If they're in an SGC slab, they don't go for that. So we're talking thousands, if not $100,000 differences in a slab. If this happens and it, let's be honest, will it devalue the market? Will it make things more, I don't know, soluble? Is that the word I'm looking for? It could have great impact. Let me go back to a few more of my notes here, guys. So differentiators, scalability, franchise growth. Let's also think about competition's response. What this gentleman's doing really isn't magic, okay? Again, we've all talked about this. People have thought about this. There's been some studies on this. And if it takes off, if there's a market, and there apparently is, if there is people paying for it, what stops PSA from just not buying this guy? So, I'll buy HGA and I'll just provide it as a secondary option, right? It's kind of like a cheaper, Ford has the Lincoln and then they have the Ford, right? You have the premium label, which is the PSA label, and you have a lower label. You want your card graded, and blah, blah, blah. Go with this one. I could totally see that happening. Or I could see them just recreating what this guy's doing, right? Make a PSA HGA equivalent, or have BGS do the same thing. Or here's another one. What stops Nike, Reebok, Fanatics, other major sports manufacturers from jumping into this too? Right? Because again, what this has taken is it's saying let's not use humans only to grade. Let's use technology. Let's give it some value based on what we're grading with this algorithm and put it in a protective slab that you can customize. That collector thing, I think, is some real value there. Again, if I go back to if Nike puts a swoosh on everyone, or they can, I don't know, Fanatics has licensing with the NBA, if they can put something on the licensing, I think this can open up so many opportunities for revenue. Kind of a little envious right now. And I have to say this too, the gentleman who just started this HGA, he's not in a bad position. Even if he fails right now, he's going to succeed. And he's not, seems like not failing. I'd love to talk to him more about what his initial costs were as far as, production, manufacturing. There had to be some fixed costs and what his return is on that, how soon that will happen. But man, this is amazing stuff. And again, I'm not, here's a funny question. Ziggy, are you going to use this guy? Probably not. Because most of the cards I grade, I'm grading to sell, and I'm going to go ahead and continue to use PSA because I get the highest resale value on it. Now, for my personal collection, would I use them? I might use them for my personal collection, or my kids thought there's something. I'm definitely going to check it out. I might even just use it just to see how it is, see how fast it is. My biggest challenge, honestly, is that I have to wait to get on his list. I got to be on there every Friday night, and it seems like that's hard to do. So I'm not going to kill myself like I do trying to get first of the line cards so I can use HGA. But what an interesting, interesting position we are here in the market with this. I do want to share with you real quickly, there are some comps popping up on eBay, and I'm definitely keeping an eye on some of these cards. First of all, I like the slabs. Some of them are kind of sexy slabs. It'll be interesting to see, how these do as we go. I will point out, Market Movers, a tool that I use, does not have HGA slabs in it. It doesn't have CSG slabs in it as well, which I'm not surprised, but just something to think about. I don't know if any of those, solutions are looking at how they can differentiate themselves. I don't know why I pulled up Star Stock there. I think last comment I wanted to make, why are we here? Why are we here today where grading is so important? And again, like I said, think about grading and think about how a guy who decides to grade a Jordan right now is basically turning, as I was saying this earlier, he's turning paper into platinum. He took a card that came in raw, and he's saying, this card is worth $300,000. How did we get there? The funny thing is I was talking to a friend about sports cards, and his comment was, you're telling me in 40 years they still make uncentered cards? And the answer is yes, they do. And I think that's what's kind of crazy. We have grading here because manufacturers don't do a very good job making cards. And I think new people back to the hobby, when they come back, they're shocked by this, thinking that every card they open, when they spend $1,000 for a box of Prism, they would assume that every card in there is a 10, right? Should be. Gosh, right? Well, it's not. Those of us who've been in the hobby know it's not. If you probably graded every card in the box, you're probably going to find out that a majority of them are 9s, right? Maybe some 8s. There's always going to be 8 or something. Someone's going to blow your mind. We've seen it in some of those reveals. So why are we here? Why aren't manufacturers doing a better job? I'll answer that a little bit for you real quickly. First of all, remember the manufacturers probably don't own everything end to end. They also, if they do own the manufacturing, they're not sitting there, they're flipping these over to print 20, 30 products a year. There's also this, here's the biggest answer to that. They're monopolies. They don't need to make a great product. They can make anything they want. In fact, one of my favorite products right now is Encased, right? Encased, where you get a product that they've made, they've graded, and they give to you and say, hey, look, we made this product. It's been graded a C, and we're going to sell it to you for a premium price. Just blows my mind. So how did we get there? We got here because manufacturers and monopolies. And I leave you on this thought. Imagine if there was competition in sports cards. Because now there'd be a desire to make centered cards. And maybe there wasn't. Maybe we got lazy when Topps and Panini both competed. But I bet you now, if you gave them an opportunity today, if they could compete today, I know I would. I'd make a centered product. I'd make one with sharp corners, with great edges. I'd go out of my way to get great autographs on the cards and give customers pristine products. In closing, I hope HGA does really well. I'm really excited about what they're doing. I definitely think they're going to attract some attention because I'll go back to this. If you are simply a collector, and that's what most of us are, there's no reason not to use HGA. There's other opportunities out there, like I said, CSG. I will say the pricing to me is a little little high. I mean, even if I did best value 60 days, it's $20 per card. So that's actually shockingly, surprisingly high to me. But I would get it back in 60 days. No other products can offer that. And they would come back all customized. So you know it'd be kind of cool? Maybe do that with a set, right? Send a complete set off to get an HGA. And too bad they don't set registry, right? Okay. I've said enough. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. Love your comments, your thoughts, your feedback. Have a great day and come back again to see us here at Sports Cards Daily. Yeah, I know we're not daily yet, but we'll get back there. Just give me some time.